So have you all watched the recent revelations by Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry? During their interview with Oprah, they disclosed how they actually faced a lot of racism within the royal family, and how it led to Meghan struggling with depression and contemplating suicide. Anyways, jumping back to the topic of this video, after watching the interview, I went back to rewatch Princess Diana's BBC's interview in 1995. Watching back, Diana really was considered as a national idol. And most importantly, her style has always been seen as the epitome of elegance in the fashion world. And as for her daughter-in-law Meghan, we all know that she greatly admires Diana. She has worn outfits in public several times that are highly reminiscent of Diana's, as a way of paying tribute to her idol. And when you compare their attire, what adjectives come to mind? Do you think Diana's classiness or sophistication is reflected in Meghan Markle's style? In this video, we will be analyzing what their differences are in regards to their attire. At the very end of the video, we will be drawing conclusions on what the actual differences are in their attire. But before jumping into that today, we're also going to be delving into exploring how to achieve sophistication, as in looking high class and elegant in dressing. So does dressing expensive actually mean dressing classy and sophisticated? Well, not exactly. But once again, although I'll be using a lot of different references to make everything as objective as possible, all of the conclusions made in this video would be based on my own opinion, so if you don't agree, please don't cancel me. Just comment down below your opinions and we can talk about it together. To begin, let's talk about Netflix hit series Bling Empire. It's all about the lives of wealthy Asian Americans in Los Angeles, but a lot of people are watching it because of its fashion. And what do you think about it? Do you find it sophisticated and classy? We often see shows during the International Fashion Weeks. Sure, they're definitely expensive and fun, but once again, do you consider them classy? So this really makes me wonder, does having quality means it's sophisticated and classy? So how can a classy and sophisticated look be achieved without spending a lot of money? But before we jump into that, let's first talk about how can we avoid spending a lot of money and still not looking sophisticated. Going back to the bling empire of the crazy rich Asians in real life, everybody in that show wears clothing that costs at least 5 figures each. But why does it still not appear sophisticated? Let's compare it to a movie that has a huge success 2 years ago called Crazy Rich Asians. What do you think about the attire of Michelle Yeoh, who played the rich wife in the film? I think you would agree that her clothing looks way more sophisticated. So why is it that there's this stark contrast in sophistication? So according to my own personal experience, in general, I really like wearing clothes that are really colorful and flashy. And don't get me wrong, I still love them, because although it's the theme of the video to look classy, I don't like looking classy all the time. But either ways, there was this one time when I wore something that's more formal and less flashy, as in the
girl boss type.
And I was on my way to meet the same friend that I regularly meet, and that's when I earned a compliment from him. He said,
"You look high end."
It was then I realized looking high-end is about wearing
men's clothing.
Just kidding, but jokes aside, I'm not sure if you've had this feeling before, but whether you're in a high street store or a designer shop, the men's section always seems more high-end at first glance. Also, I just wanted to quickly say thank you so much for all of the support in my previous 2 videos. It really means the world to me that you like it, and if you like this video, please drop a thumbs up and also subscribe. And let's continue. And another example would be the clothing line of Hugo Boss, which is very simple and elegant, and they actually have a clothing line for women as well. But the women's clothing line really doesn't look any different from the men's. But similarly, the women are able to pull off looking quite luxurious and sophisticated. So why does men's clothing often conveys a sense of sophistication more easily? Personally, I think one of the reasons is because there's no price ceiling in women's clothing. Various extravagant decorations can make the price skyrocket, but excessive embellishments don't necessarily add on sophistication. So for a woman or anyone who likes to dress more traditionally feminine are more likely to spend a lot without achieving a sophisticated look. On the other hand, men's fashion is more likely to allocate more cost on the tailoring and also the fabric, so you get what you paid for, and at an equivalent price point, men's clothing often appears more sophisticated. Also nowadays, the fact that women can wear men's clothing and look even more stylish has made it a trendy form of women's fashion. There's this interesting phenomenon in the fashion world where many fashion icons love to wear men's clothing, or what's often termed as gender-neutral clothing. For instance, one of the most famous gender-neutral dresses in the fashion industry is Bianca Jagger. She wears a suit to go clubbing, celebrates her birthday in a suit, and even casually shop in a suit. She even wore a suit to her own wedding. And another fan of gender-neutral clothing would be Victoria Beckham, David Beckham's wife. I mean, at this point, she could practically share half of her wardrobe with David. And there are several other fashion icons who are die-hard fans of man clothing. Angelica Hudson, Jodie Foster, Kate Blanchett, Angelina Jolie, Emmanuel Alt, and Winona Ryder. They are the epitome of having high-end looks without throwing a lot of money into it. And another situation that can hinder a high-end look is trying too hard. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but sometimes what people struggle to put together is the effortless chic. They appear not to care about what the others think, but they still look really elegant. And a French saying perfectly explains where their high-end style comes from.
L'ennui est l'expression suprême de l'indifférence.
Lethargy is not caring about moving up the high-end ladder. They're too lazy to flatter, too lazy to please, and on their faces indifference after their desires have been satisfied. It's precisely this appearance of indifference that foreigners arriving in France will always look like a foreigner, because compared to them we just smile too much and talk too loudly. And for those who have been to Paris, you probably know that when winter arrives the city, it's all about shades of black. During the fashion weeks, if we take a look at the patterns, we'll notice that New York has a liking for urban minimalism, London has a love for prints, and Milan with its mature style. But when we get to Paris, it's an ocean of black. And precisely this monochromatic palette creates a sense of sophistication. We'll get into this further shortly, but it is true that French people don't usually use highly saturated colors for their clothing choices. There are honestly rarely bright colors, and even when using bright colors, they tend to choose neutral colors as a base and with one color as a visual centerpiece. This is why the popular series Emily in Paris was referred to by the French as the stereotypical image of Paris in the eyes of foreigners, and it faced a lot of backlash from the French online. Because if we compare Emily's attire with that of an actual authentic French style, which one do you think appears more sophisticated and classy? And thirdly, simplicity is the ultimate elegance. They value quality materials. Cashmere overcoats and neat sweaters are their favorites. Nothing matters more than the texture of the fabric because they can feel it against their bodies. But once again, let me clarify. I'm not saying all French people dress like that. I'm just describing the most stereotypical French style and analyzing it. But moving on, during winter, the French rarely show large areas of skins. Well, because a lot of areas of France are really cold, so staying warm is crucial to them. So you may see a lot of black stockings, but you rarely see bare legs, while guys wear down jackets. Now let's summarize. The commonalities that we can find between men and French fashion might provide us with some insight on how to dress in a more sophisticated way. It seems like both men's and French fashion have a few things in common. Number 1, practicality is key. No matter the clothing, prioritizing warmth and appropriateness is paramount. Number 2, decorations kept to a minimum. Designs are reflected in fit and details rather than extensive surface adornments. Number 3, it's not about having more than 3 colors from head to toe. What's more important is the harmony between colors. But if you pay attention to the quality like men's fashion, and also pursue simplicity like the French, yet you still can't achieve a sophisticated style, it's likely due to the last reason, not knowing how to contrast. Using contrast as the golden rule for making basic items look sophisticated. As in, without ugliness, there's no beauty. Without criticism, there's no praise. Without the ordinary, there's no sophistication. Even if you're dressed in head to toe in high quality basics, if you don't know how to create a sense of contrast cleverly, it's hard to achieve a sense of sophistication. So how do you create contrast? Number 1, contrast in materials. Natural fabrics have their unique shine, and this natural shine is inherently sophisticated. Yet the level of shine varies between different materials. There's glossy, matte, soft shine, and so on. Each type of shine provides a different visual appearance. For example, compared to wool, cashmere has a richer and softer shine. And in comparison, silk has a warm and bright shine. Genuine leather has a plump and bright shine. And metal has a very heavy and bright shine. As for diamonds, we all know they have a brilliant shine. And jade has an oily shine. When we layer materials with different types of shine, we can create this sense of contrast. Matte plus gloss, soft shine plus plump shine, and soft shine plus warm shine. In fabric materials, this means cashmere plus leather, cashmere plus wool plus leather, or knitwear plus silk, all of which can create a sense of contrast. Try to add on some materials with a slightly shiny surface to your overall look, such as silk, genuine leather, metal, or jewelry. And if you can't afford larger pieces, don't worry, smaller ones can also work wonders. For example, the classic outfit of the eldest daughter of the TV series Succession features a full cashmere turtleneck sweater paired with various delicate metal accessories. The contrast between cashmere's sheen and metal's luster creates a subtle visual collision. Just a tiny touch of delicacy elevates the sophistication. Many high-end brands now use a sophisticated accessory such as high-quality glossy leather belt, which can instantly elevate any suit, outerwear, or cashmere coats. Mixing different materials in the same color scheme immediately adds a sense of sophistication. And secondly, color contrast. Now we can talk about the details. When it comes to sophistication, people often think of black, white, gray, beige, and navy. But even within such similar color tones, you can create contrast. For instance, just within black and white, there are countless ways to contrast black and white. A black top with white pants, a white top with a black shirt, a black outerwear with a white inner layer, or something more intricate, black outerwear with a white lining, or a white top with black buttons. All of these can create a sense of sophistication. And also, there's something that's often mentioned in the fashion magazine: tone on tone, which means contrasting different shades of the same color family.
50 Shades of Grey.
And there's one magic color that can contrast with any neutral colors. A touch of gold can brighten up all neutral colors. However, it's best to use in small areas or as an accent, because you don't want to end up looking like that. Thirdly, contrast in design. For example, A style with oversized shoulders tightened at the cuffs and waist will have a fashionable yet restrained sense of sophistication. And lastly, contrast in different occasions. You can completely break the rules of day wear, evening wear, casual, and formal attire. For instance, one of my favorite outfits in Succession is when the eldest daughter casually wore a white cotton shirt but adorned with a diamond hair accessory. Instantly, this gave a formal but casual sense of sophistication to the style, breaking away from the usual associations with price and occasion. Fashion sense comes from this freshness of breaking traditional patterns. Traditions often imply being old-fashioned and dull, but breaking traditions is the most challenging. It requires aesthetic knowledge and perspective. But after all of this talk, isn't it still about buying expensive stuff? So how can a person still look high-end even if you don't want to spend extra money on buying higher quality materials and also tiny intricate decorations? Finally, let me introduce a special fashion icon. Nope, this time it's not Rihanna. This time it's an American writer, Frank Lebowitz. As a classic menswear enthusiast, she's been wearing tailored suits for decades, paired with white shirt, Levi jeans, and cowboy boots. But nope, she's not non-binary. Today we're not going to have another huge discussion on her gender identity. But relying on this outfit alone, she has been named by major authoritative magazines as the best dressed woman. And despite being a writer, she has been invited to various fashion shows. And you might be wondering, what? How can she be recognized as a fashion icon just by wearing one outfit? And isn't this outfit kind of old-fashioned as well? Because regardless of the occasion and time, it's always boots and suits. And if you've had the honors to listen to any of her interviews, you'd understand her underlying philosophy. She says she's been dressing this way for 40 years. When she was young on the streets of New York, everybody dressed very seriously and formally. And honestly, this person has a great sense of humor. She says, "I'll keep wearing jeans until I die. After all, I'm about to die anyways." And when somebody asked her where she got her vintage sunglasses, she replied, "These are antique glasses. Originally, they aren't antiques, but after being with me for so long, they've slowly become antiques." She also added, "I don't
believe in God, I only believe in cashmere."
Her lifestyle is also really old-fashioned where she doesn't use a phone or computer. She says it's because when everybody has them, you don't need them. "There's always going to be someone around me telling me what's going on social media even when I don't want to know." And it's precisely because of her old-fashioned inner thoughts that makes her fashion old-fashioned as well. Her way of dressing is a natural expression of her inner thoughts. But finally, let's go back to the topic of Diana and Meghan Markle. Why is it that even if Meghan wears the same outfit, she can't quite match Diana's sophistication? And if we talk about fashion itself, it's quite obvious that Meghan's fashion sense is not lacking in any ways. There isn't much of a difference between her and Diana, certainly not like Kate Middleton. However, the relentless coverage of media unanimously accuses her of trying too hard. In my opinion, their differences is more internal. The biggest difference between Diana and Meghan is how they use the clothing to communicate with the others. Clothing is their language, expressing the message they want to convey. For example, when Diana went on state visits to various countries, she wore clothing that paid tribute to the local culture. And when she visited Saudi Arabia, for instance, she wore a dress adorned with gold falcon, which is a local symbol. People say that due to her shy personality, in general, she enjoys wearing warmer clothes and also vibrant colors just to seem more approachable to the others. She wants to touch the stranger's hands, so she doesn't like wearing gloves. Back then, when she shook hands with patients with AIDS on camera, it was to dispel doubts about AIDS spreading through contact. And if she's visiting the blind at a hospital, she will definitely wear velvet fabric because the texture feels really warm to touch. It's these details that reveals a person's inner self, not what they say under the spotlight. The famous scholar Mr. Chu Guangchang once said, "A person's position, character, and interests are reflected in their words and action, giving a harmonious and complete impression at first sight." Perhaps Diana's sense of sophistication in her clothing comes from this internal consistency.
Well, one day I hope to become a sophisticated and classy YouTuber as well.
So encourage me in the comments down below. Anyways, I hope you've learned something new in this new episode, and thank you so much for staying till the end. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give a like and leave some comments down below about your thoughts. So see you in the next video. Bye!